There you go. He's the tech guy, I'll ask him.
And Mr. Coonan want to be the designated temporary chair, or should I have that? Huh?
I do, right, it's in your packet, but here. You got another one, hang on, right here. Here you go. There you go. Here are the minutes from the last meeting. Sorry about that.
Okay, who's that? Okay, the annual meeting of the Board of Water Commissions is called to order. I'd like to designate Attorney Coonan to act as temporary chair for the meeting.
First order of business, the minutes have been submitted dated June 10th, 2020. Is there a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll make the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 First order of business, I'll entertain a motion for a nomination of an officer of the office of president.
I wish to nominate Dennis Croswell for president of the board.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. I'll then resign as the chair and turn the same over to the newly elected president. Mr. Croswell, congratulations.
Thank you very much. I now call for nominations for secretary.
I'll make the nomination for Bob to be secretary.
On the second it. Okay, any discussion? Any hearing none? Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, passed. Congratulations, Bob.
Thank you.
Okay, the committee assignments, I don't know if Mr. Noble here has been officially assigned to any of our committees.
I didn't know you had any.
You know, we actually had committees, I don't know if we have actually the list of the ones, but I'd like, if you would. Yes. Would you like to serve on our personnel committee, James?
Fine.
Yeah. Joanne is still on the finance committee. Is that still okay, Joanne?
Yeah.
Yeah. What other committees do we have that maybe Mr. Noble would like to serve on? Maybe- Or we can.
Yeah, well, the extensions and improvements and is the only other one that, yeah, I mean, we had a forestry committee, but we haven't,
Hasn't been a need for that.
not for a while. Not for a while.
Why don't we assign you to that one other one then? What was it?
Extensions and improvements.
Okay. So a motion to adjourn the date for the next annual meeting will be June 8th of 2022. And accept the motion to adjourn the regular, or motion to adjourn the annual meeting.
Make a motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Now we can move on to the regular meeting. So, I call the regular meeting of June 9th, 2021 of the Board of Water Commissioners to order. We need a minute of the previous meeting.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of the previous meeting.
Second.
Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And carried. Bills and presentations, presentation of bills and accounts. Have you
Make a
finished?
motion, bills be paid.
Hold on, Bob, I
Yeah,
think,
just have to wait a few more minutes.
okay, we'll delay that until Joanne has the opportunity to audit this past month's bills.
Oh, you did.
Okay, we'll get back to it in a minute. We'll jump down to Cooper Lake improvements.
Okay, we received executed contracts from the contractor that you awarded the bid to last month. Bill is reviewing, he hasn't had an opportunity, Bill just came. Bill's reviewing them to make sure that the insurances and the bonds are appropriate, and everybody's a bid carrier in New York and all that.
So far, they're okay, but we will review a lot of
That's right.
that.
So with that, I mean, we've already approved the contract, it would just be for Dennis at the end of the meeting to execute them. We have a pre-construction meeting on Friday. There's about 50 people gonna be on, and now Jim, I will send you that link. I only got it a few minutes ago. We will be meeting virtually because this contractor is out of state and our engineers are out of, not local, and so it just seemed to expedite that we would, it's mostly administrative stuff anyway, payment vouchers and shop loans and things like that. So we're gonna have that virtually. It's Friday, Jim, it'll be Friday from 1 to 3. I'm hoping it doesn't take that long on Friday, but it could. Anyway, and we have a grant application that was due the 11th for up to a reimbursement of up to $100,000 for design work for this project. And obviously we already finished the design, but the grant application will allow us to be retroactive till I think it's September of 2019. And so that application is just about completed. There's 1 or 2 things we're waiting on. The deadline is the 11th, but they just extended it a week to the 18th. So we should have no problem getting that submission in. And we also will be submitting one for our Binney Water Dam, because that one we haven't done the design work on, and we're hoping to be able to get some seed money to get that going. The part of the issue with this grant application is, I appreciate that everything is on electronic submissions right now, but the website is very cumbersome. It's a step in the right direction, but it was quite a learning curve to figure out how to navigate the whole thing. I think we're past that. So, that's the update with Cooper Lake.
Okay. Transmission main rehab.
Last month, we approved that 3rd phase of that project to do a couple of weeks on transmission main as well as some valves. We've gotten approval from the health department to do that. We've gotten approval from EFC to do that. You guys authorized the cost not to exceed $420,000. And we hope to have that work. I was hoping to be able to tell you that the work is done, but it's not started because we can't get valves and pumps. So I guess you can blame it on COVID because we blame everything else on COVID, but there is quite a backlog in terms of materials and supply parts, and the cost of everything is absolutely, yeah, you know that's in your business, but we normally would make a request for a valve or a piece of pipe or something. That quote would be good for 30 days. Now they're telling you they can get it and they won't give you a price until it's shipped because it's really hard to plan. So contractor is doing well and in locating all the things. This is a huge project, and we have some of the stuff on the shelf that we're going to advance them just to get it done. Just to get it moving. They need repair plans and pipes and things. Yeah, and so we're gonna do that. We're back ordered on hydrants. I mean, this sounds crazy. We usually have 5 in stock at all times. We had 6 car hydrant interactions this winter, which is there's always a few, but not always that many. And we have not a hydrant stock. I mean, we have 12 on order. The photos they be here June 15th. Also,
They had that one there uptown with the guy.
That's better, we had, that
Have you
one, we got, they gave, they said, we can't send you the 12, but we got one.
Okay,
Okay, so that one was replaced. And then, but there's one in Clifton Avenue that got here early in the winter, and it's just sitting there, and it looks terrible. You know, we get every once in a while, you know, what's wrong with you people, you can't get this done. I just don't have the material to put it in, so. Anyway,
so is there any rough idea when the valves and piping and everything?
we have, we talk weekly, we have a little kind of coffee conversation between the project engineer and the contractors, project manager, and they tell us what they've gotten a commitment on, and so
Wait and see.
we're waiting. We were hoping to have everything done by July 4th, but it might be a little later now. And they're as anxious to get this done as we are. So,
Okay.
Okay.
huh? Okay.
Jump back to the presentation of building accounts.
And Bob already made the motion on second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, carried. And moving down, REIT 2020.
We're waiting. I mean, we have the project scoped out. There's a little bit more information on valves, on which specific valves, and we're back on track after the pump station issue. And I think we're ready to go, pretty much ready to go to bid on that.
So what are we waiting for then? Who's waiting for who?
The engineers are waiting for us to refine exactly which valves that we need replaced. Because if they're not generic, even though they're all 16-inch valves, some of the mains were laid so that we don't have enough cover to replace it with a gate valve. So you might need butterfly valve, which has, you know, technical stuff like that. So
Okay.
Ryan's got his guys out there, and they're actually lifting up the gate valve boxes and measuring down to the nuts and figuring out what the very depth is on those. And so once we get that information, you know, we'll be ready to roll on that.
Engineers will put together the scope of the project.
We have the scope of the project, it's all done. Then they'll put out a request for,
Bid.
well, to bid, and so we should be out to bid by the July meeting with that project.
Okay, that's it. Okay. Foxwell Pump Station.
As anybody who rode by can see, the walls are up,
Doors in.
doors in, yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. We have local control of the pumps. The SCADA panel has been brought to our SCADA guys down in Fairlawn, New Jersey, to be rebuilt. It literally was underwater. So, you know, all the contacts and terminal blocks need to be rewired and done. So fortunately with this project, initially, we were given a box of 8 boxes of spare parts as part of the contract. And so the items that would have a long lead time, like the PLC and some of the modems and things that were in this panel, we actually had sitting in a box upstairs. So it was nice. And like the cradle points that Kyle needs to get the communication links up. We had those. We loaded up the boxes and the panel and sent it down there. They're going to load the program on remotely, get it all set up. And I'm hoping by the end of the week, we have it back up and Jim Carrey can install it. And then we'll be up and running. The problem with the way we're running now, and Matt can speak to this because we get shutters every Wednesday or third Friday when we do the payroll. We're burning about 40 hours worth of overtime every week. Because pumps come on at 30 feet elevation in the tank, and they go off at 36. And if you go to 40.8, you've overflowed into backyards on Clifton Avenue. Probably not something we really want to do. Backyard's down, anyway, by Florence Street on the other side, yeah. It overflows down the bank into what used to be,
Back into the cemetery.
not Broadway's property. So the plant folks, anybody with access to SCADA, and the plants man 24 hours a day, they're watching that. And an alarm goes off at 30, and an alarm goes off at 36. And so then they call whoever's on call. So they come in at 1 o'clock in the morning and they turn it on, and back at 3 o'clock and they turn it off. So it's adding up to about, 7 days a week. That's 40 hours worth of overtime. It's 2-hour call on every time we go out. So we're hoping, I think all that would be reimbursable through the insurance. Yeah, we'll see. We're hoping. We're over $100,000 in costs right now. We had to rebuild the pump station, so that was 33 and 20, so about a little 50 rough numbers. We got a bill from the electrician. Do we have a bill yet? We had probably $8,000 in costs from Brigadier Malarios to coordinate and stamp plans and that kind of stuff. It adds up. I don't know what the SCADA people are gonna, what that's. Oh, yeah, and to rent the bypass pump was, almost $100,000.
What is this guy's insurance policy? Where is it maxed out at?
I don't know.
We're running it through ours and our insurance.
Okay.
There's a suggestion, Bill explained to me that property damage is minimum in New York, 10,000.
Yeah.
In Matt's conversation with their his insurance company rep, the hint was they might have 75. But don't know.
Well, your insurance company will reimburse you, and
Yes,
then they will proceed by subrogation against the wrongdoer.
correct.
And if they recover those monies, including your deductible, you're supposed to sue for or obtain that.
Mhm.
And that insurance company gets reimbursed, and then that comes off your claims status.
Right, so it doesn't get charged against us.
But if they don't have sufficient coverage, and they don't recover the monies, then it comes off your
Yes,
experience ratio.
So do the water department has their own insurance, it's not under the city umbrella or
right.
anything? Oh,
We have our own policies. We've always had our own policies. And I think Bill can talk to this, but just from listening to Bill, I think that if ours are ever exceeded, then the cities would take it over. That's never happened.
I think the city's like 25,000 deductible. Or something like that. Or-
No, our deductible was,
For those.
Not property. Deductible, right?
it used to be 0. I mean, we had, at one point we did, but we've never had a claim like that. We've never had, I've been sitting here for 33 years, Kevin, we've never had this, an occurrence like this. We've never had, a car hits a fire hydrant, we actually go after their insurance.
And the city's gonna put a guardrail up for you, or how's that work?
I think we're gonna have to put the guardrail on.
Put the guardrail
We
up?
haven't even discussed having the city do it. I mean, we're looking at ballards. We need access to those doors,
Mhm.
so but we certainly can ask, but,
Some of those pipes that drop down or something.
Get boulders from the estimate.
Or we just use the old bricks to build a wall, right?
we had a Volkswagen Passat. All right, so that's
That for that.
that. We're moving forward. I'm amazed. I mean, I have to say, we had a lot of local contractors step up immediately and come to our assistance. Jimmy McGann, he started on Monday, it happened on Friday night. Dennis Larios met me there at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. All these guys came in and dropped. Jim Carrey was there, that next morning to do what they had to do. So we were Oftentimes we don't get to utilize local people because of the bid process. And that's the way it ought to be. But in this case, we had a lot of good Kingston people that came through for us. So it was nice.
Hey, Glory Street?
I emailed Alan Olson, their business manager, again today. You
I
haven't
have
heard?
not received it.
Right, and that's what I told them. I said, we want to do this, we need to do this. You need to be out on the street for a couple weeks. Project itself will take 30 days. Now we're looking at Labor Day. This has to be done now. We're waiting on, your attorney hasn't responded. So, if you really want to move forward with this, please let me know. If you decide otherwise,
I thought it was supposed to come to the last board meeting for the school.
it was supposed to, that's what I was told. I spoke to another lawyer in that firm who said that she was gonna make sure that her partner, AKA her mother, was going to, talk to the school folks, but
So at what point in time do we just
pull the plug.
pull the
and
plug
go-
and do our end of it?
That's what I said to him, and Dennis Larios is copied on that, so I'll find out from Dennis what the absolute drop dead date is, and I'll call Alan again tomorrow and say, hey. Tommy Clapper, their maintenance guy, he really wants this done because he knows that they're gonna have huge issues.
I mean, Dennis is in the schools engineer, is he?
No, but Dennis has, the design, we're ready to go to bid.
That's not the problem. The problem is just getting approval from the school district. I'll call the attorney.
Okay, we just need the agreement. It's a lump sum contract. I mean, there's rock to be taken out, there's linear feet of pipe. Contractor will give us a per unit price for everything. If and I'm making up numbers, if 50 feet of it is ours and 52 feet of it is theirs, we're gonna multiply that. If there's more rock on our end and less on theirs, it seems like a very easy contract to divide up. Construction management, we go through Bernier Larios. That's a very reasonable cost because it will be a full-time, somebody doesn't have to be there every day. Or all day, they certainly can check it, so. Should be easy.
Tech City.
Do you wanna,
Well, I think that should go in executive session.
Okay. and we can do executive session as we sit here, because I'm not able to broadcast this on Facebook today. And we could just stop the recording, and we have no attendees, no one registered to attend.
We'll discuss it. I'll be very
I mean, I don't think.
I don't have any problem.
No, you can.
Is there anything else we need to do?
Well, there's two other items I want to bring to your attention. One is the Kingstonian project.
Okay.
Dennis Larios is the developer's engineer. And I think the existing plan, and I know it hasn't gotten full approval from all the city agencies, but one of the issues that we have with, not an issue with the project, but one of the things that we're going to have to resolve is that if Fair Street extension from Schwank up to Clinton Avenue, there's an 8-inch water main in that part of Fair Street.
Going down the hill.
Yeah. It was put in 1937. It was, and all the cement lining that we did in the 70s on Fair Street, that one block was never done. Okay, 'cause I don't think that main, and I think there's a 16-inch up here, and there's a 16-inch down here. If ever there was a place you wanted to build a project in the city of Kingston, between those two mains, we've got the water. I mean, so the demand for the project is not an issue. The issue is, my understanding is there's going to be maybe a pedestrian walkway. So that main either has to be taken out, decommissioned, and taken out of service, or the developer has to remove it someplace else. Because there's no way I want.
Can you decommission it without?
Well, that's where I'm going. So I believe we can, but that's not, I'm not willing. I don't have the authority to say that. I don't have the expertise to say that. So what I said to Dennis Larios was, we have a hydraulic model at CDM. We paid CDM, it's on their server, but we own it. And they will run the hydraulic model and they will come up with a definitive, yes, you can decommission that main, or no, that needs to be rerouted. I know this is a very high profile project. And I know there's lots of litigation surrounding this, and I don't want us to be involved in it. We're a utility. We don't really have an opinion on whether that project is a good thing or a bad thing.
Does that main feed like the plaza?
No, nothing. I mean, there's.
Just the connecting between the 2 16s, is that all it does?
It actually connects, yeah, there's a new 8-inch on Swank and there's a 16-inch on what I call Clinton Avenue Extension. I don't know what it's really called now. Yeah, and so, no, the plaza has a 10-inch connection down off of the 16, and they also have one on the top on Clinton Avenue by their other entrance. By the entrance, it's closer to Main Street. So no, it has nothing to do with that. But I think we'll run them on, and we'll see. And the developers have agreed to pay the cost of running that model. CDM, I've gotten the price, and it would be $8,300 for them to run. The developers will have to provide that money to us up front, which they said they're willing to do in an escrow account. And then it'll take CDM Smith a month to, run the model. We have to do some calibration for it. We have to go out and do some hybrid flow tests to make sure, that the model is properly calibrated before they run it. And then, we'll have an actual stamped piece of paper that says, yes, you have to, you can decommission that main without no impact on the city water supply. Or no, you have to, that means essential, it needs to be relocated at the developer's expense. So that's where we're going with this. I mean, I just wanted the board to be aware of that. I have a proposal from CDM Smith here to do that. And they clearly understand that, until I give them the notice to proceed, and that'll be the day I get a check. Enough, but we've had developers, they pull the plug, they come and they go, I don't want to incur any expenses until we have the cash in hand to be able to pay for that. And I think that's how the planning board works as well. We're going to do this kind of work. So that's the Kingstonian. The other issue is GIS. We're doing really well on that. Debbie's doing a phenomenal job. She's got about half of the city done, mapped and ready for the guys to take out in the field. And we need, another 40 hours or so from CDM Smith to finish that. And she's pretty confident she'll have it done by the end of this year. So by 2022, they'll be able to go out in the field with a laptop as opposed to 15 books or 500 pages in books, and it'll be a lot easier to do markouts. And we'll also be able to put locations of service laterals on there. We'll be able to put billing date. I mean, once we have this thing out there, there's a lot of uses that we can do for it. And the cost for the extra 40 hours, the way this works is Debbie's actually doing the work, but one of their modelers from CDM, about once every couple of weeks, Jared and Debbie, get on a conference call, and she says, hey, I'm having trouble doing this. And then he'll kind of show us step by step. And then that works. And then a couple of weeks later, she hits another stumbling block. And so the calls are getting fewer and farther between because, she's really getting adept at doing this. But the cost for the additional 40 hours, and if we only use 30 of those hours, we're only gonna pay for that, but that would be $7,500. So something we can figure out how to pay for this budget. So I just want your approval to move forward with both of those things.
We need a motion then, or?
Well, they want me to execute an agreement with them, which we always do. It's an amendment to their existing GIS development. And the hydraulic model will be separated out, so Matt will be able to build the developer for the.
So you need a motion for both Kingstonian project and. the
Yes.
Giants?
Yes, to amendment number 1, to amend our current agreement with CDM Smith and GIS development support. And there's 2 parts. Task number 3 would be the GIS development, and the total cost for that work would be $7,500, and the hydraulic model for Bear Creek development would be $8,300, and that would be fully reimbursed by the developer.
Motion to approve amendment number 1 of the CDM.
And the total is 15.
Okay. CDM project costs.
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll make the motion to approve the amendment of the CDM project costs for total amount. Is that it?
Yes.
Individual.
Either way, doesn't matter.
Okay, for the total amount of $15,800.
Anybody have a second for the motion?
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, those in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
So I just have a question.
Hold on, I'm a little-
No, I'm not on,
Okay,
but just, so you're just doing a GIS on the whole water
Mhm.
system for the city?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm seeing.
Well, yes, the tap data can be added, because we have, anything that we have in the database can be added to that. The first step, in my mind, is to be able to put it on something, like this. So the guys can take it out in the field and they can tap on it, and the record drawings for that intersection come up, all gate values. Because they're also in there, and they're associated with it.
Oh.
But you can put, we have the tap information, you could put anything you can put in the database, you can be able to associate it with.
Could hook up with the city and they could do the score line.
Well, I think they already have.
Okay.
And so I think thered be an opportunity for us to just
Combine.
combine them, and so it would benefit everybody. Engineering goes out, who's trying to design, a
And
smart
I'm
project.
thinking of Jay Hogan worked on sewer lines for the city.
And that's why they're probably still not done. He finished designing the gazebo down in the park a couple of days after they finished directing and painting. Just want to say that. Jay was not speedy.
do we have motions back under the transition main rehab?
No.
Okay, what was the stuff you said out about the secret?
Oh, I'm sorry, that is, I forgot. I'm so sorry. Thank you for, at least you're paying attention. We need to amend the secret resolution on that project. And that's the second one. Because I also sent out the report that, Nanette at CDM Smith, she's their GIS, she's their secret person and their environmental person. Anyway, there's really no impact to change the seeker, but it's the locations. We're working in 2 locations to fix those routes that we hadn't worked in before. So the first resolution would be to adopt an amendment to amend the seeker, to adopt that amendment, and all the whereases and all that good stuff. And I sent that out ahead of time because of all the whereases, and you can read that. So the important part is now therefore be it resolved by the City of Kingston Board of Water Commissioners that the water transmission main improvement project be amended as follows to include section 1, the repair of those 2 leaks, section 2, the replacement of valves at Boyce's Farm, and then we note what the engineer's probable construction cost will be. And then based on the other document that I circulated with this report, we'll be able to determine that there's negative significance to this part of the secret. And then we can move forward with getting one. Once we start the work.
Okay, so take them separately then?
Your pleasure.
Sure. So the first one is the actual amendment to the transmission rehab project. Right? Or do you determine which one to be the first?
Well, I think you have to amend the project and then you have to declare negatives, declaration of negative significance. You have to do it that way.
So this is the amendment to, what do you say, change the?
To amend the seeker resolution. We previously adopted seeker resolutions, and it really dealt with the locations of the other two phases of the project.
Okay.
And now these are in different locations, and so
The
you have,
second one is the neg deck.
exactly. This is really-
There's someone who wants to make motion to amend the resolution for the project.
I'll make a motion.
Okay. A second,
I'll second
do I have any further discussion? Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, carried. You have one that you want us to sign, Judy?
Yes, we do. I have these, you
We'll do that after.
can, yeah.
Okay, so there's second motion, adopting a determination of negative declaration of environmental significance for this project. So your motion for that.
I'll make that motion.
I'll make that motion. Yeah. Need a second? Okay.
Second.
Any further discussion on that?
No.
Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, carried.
And then the last thing in that packet, and thank you for reminding me about all of this. Was the amendment for CDM for that work. Their cost would be $42,510 for construction administration. And that's all included in the total grant cost. She just hadn't gotten this to in time. So that's one.
So we,
A motion to approve amendment number 2 to the Kingston Water Department water system improvements. Basically the transmission main project. In the amount of $42,500.
Where's that amount, Judy?
It's on the last, we're always on the last page. It's kind of a four-month, right here. It's on the last page. It's always, they give you 3 or 4 pages of what we're gonna do, and in the end, the bottom line is always the bottom line.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not a problem. Well, it's- Judy took it out, that's all.
okay, so I need a motion to amend that contract.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, carried.
That's it. I'm done asking to approve.
On all those. Send that around though.
Yeah, we'll start it. And Mayor and Bob, I will note that you approved, you voted yes, but your video or your remote.
Judy, where are your speakers in here? I'm wondering sometimes, do I speak loud enough for people?
You know, it's, the speakers are next to the,
That's it right there.
but we can get, and I looked this up the other day, and they're rather inexpensive. You can get Bluetooth that'll hook into that, and we can put them around.
Okay.
And that's all right. And somebody else mentioned that to me.
No,
people.
when I was, remote, I was sometimes having a hard time hearing everybody until I got the headset. And then
Right.
once I got the headset, I could hear people. But I would sometimes be like,
What was he saying?
what am I talking about?
We're doubling superintendent salary, okay.
So what do you want to move next? You want to go to correspondence?
I don't have
Finish
any,
everything? Nothing?
I have nothing.
Okay, superintendent's report? Superintendent's report?
Apologize for getting that to everybody late. I was, I took a couple of days off next week.
And nothing more on this thing with the IT? The system setup dialogue box that popped up?
No, but I have to say I'm very comfortable that we did not have an intrusion. Because I think we undervalue our IT department and Kyle McIntosh in particular. This happened, we had several computers on the operator's table, at, and so one of our evening operators, he works from 7 to 7 in the morning. He was, when you have to backwash filters, you have to, well, on the skate, you gotta take the filters offline and turn them back online for water quality parameter tracking. And so he noticed that next to the computer next to him, the dialogue box popped up, and it was like that he shouldn't have done it. So we happened to hire him. He was a computer tech before we hired him. So he knew that wasn't right. And that maybe it was somebody fishing around. So he immediately called Derek, his boss, the chief operator, and Derek immediately got Kyle out of it, 10:30 at night. And Kyle got a hold of Joel, and between the two of them, they logged in and they were looking at the logs, and nothing seemed weird, nothing seemed crazy. But that's a computer that should have been unplugged a while ago, which it was before we redid the SCADA system. That was the original bidding order computer, which we don't need it. But nobody bothered to ever unplug it. It's just it's only been there.
Where, at the plant or at bidding water?
At the plant. It's how we monitored what was going on
Okay.
in bidding water. But since we've now incorporated that into the SCADA system, that should have been unplugged because it, it wasn't a current computer in terms of protection side. So Kyle just said full plug, and 8:30 the next morning, Joel was up and he picked the computer up. And Kyle cloned the hard drive, and then he took the original hard drive and he locked it up. They had a little safe in their office to make sure, it was there. If the FBI needed to look at it. And he took a week and he went through everything, and there's nothing. So I said to him, how did that happen? He said, well, they're all sitting there. He said, and if Steve puts his hand down, maybe the mouse just, it can happen. So the good news is we've since gone through and looked at every computer that's plugged in, and they're all supposed to be plugged in, and they're all current in terms of Windows security and that kind of thing. And the guy did the right thing. That doesn't always happen, but he got within minutes, or people were on looking at it, and it turned out to be nothing. So that's a good thing.
So you think we're pretty safe from cyber attack?
I do. Kyle, but we do some advanced cybersecurity through the Federal Department of Homeland Security. And they look at the City Hall server. They look at us separately because there's a critical nature to ours, and they look at KPP separately. And these reports are not foilable, by anybody, because if you foil them, you'd be able to circumvent all stuff. But Kyle's done an amazing job. Anytime you have stuff that faces the internet, like our SCADA system, there's a way in, but he's done everything humanly possible to lock that down. There's one computer that we want to replace, but We have to get, there's an issue with taking them offline right now. And because we lose some functionality with day order. But he's got that so that it only recognizes very specific incoming traffic, outgoing traffic, is, yeah, incoming traffic rather, so that it's locked down for everything else. So he's done a pretty good job, and he's right on top of it. And we also have to certify to the federal government that we've done a cybersecurity vulnerability analysis, and we've had to do that. New York State's been ahead of that curve, so we've had to incorporate cybersecurity into our. We have to conduct an overall vulnerability analysis of the whole system every 5 years and update it annually. And 3 years ago, they made us do cybersecurity, so we're a little ahead of the curve. And we do the vulnerability analysis in-house because you guys sent me to take a class to learn how to. I'm certified with two different ways to do that, and we do it in-house because the consultants are incredible. So, but Kyle takes the lead on the cybersecurity and vulnerability analysis because I don't even know what the words mean. I look at it and I go, this is for you. So it's all good.
So any other questions on the superintendent's report? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Okay, we have a second.
I'll second
Any those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Okay, now we can go into executive session.
Before you do that, review the insurance requirements on the presented. And they're fairly acceptable. So if you want to address that, so we try to.
Well, I think the contract was awarded. So do we need a resolution to execute,
Resolution to execute.
Okay, then we do.
Okay. So entertain a motion to
Authorize the president to execute the contracts.
All 6 copies. I'm
okay,
not sure we need 6 copies, but
we have a motion.
Make a motion.
Okay, we have a second.
I'll second
Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, carried. Thank you, folks.
thank you.
Now a motion to go into executive session.
I'll make the motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Regarding
Hang on.
regarding legal.
Wait, yes, oh yes, you gotta put the reasons down, I'm sorry.